All right. Hi, everybody. I'm going to need a little help to get going here, though, because I'm a little nervous. This is about stories tonight, and I'm sure, thinking back to your childhood days, there was a phrase that kicked off the stories that you heard when you were younger. What was that phrase? Once upon a time. All together, please. Once upon a time. In an emerald green kingdom, far, far away, I got blown up by terrorists. Right under our nose, the IRA had stolen a flatbed lorry, welded a 10-tube mortar base plate to the back, parked it near our base, and pulled the trigger. And as these 100-pound bombs came sailing in all around us, knocking off chunks of reinforced concrete and kicking me around with the blast, I thought, thank fuck for that. At least they hadn't taken on a more vulnerable foot patrol that was out on the ground at the time that would have been hammered. I guess you could say this was a pretty average day at the office during that terrible multi-decade-long conflict in Northern Ireland the British called the Troubles. Over 3,000 people were killed, tens of thousands of people wounded, billions of dollars in damage to infrastructure. And I was an officer in the British Army's Parachute Regiment, at the front line on my third tour, where the metal hits the meat. And I guess you could say I was pretty well acclimatized to a place where everything was trying to kill me all the time. Flash forward to 2020, COVID hit. Everybody here thought you, your friends, and your families were gonna die. Oh yeah, you did. And I said to myself, to help people, what lessons could I bring forward from this more perilous time in my life to share with others, many of whom were desperately trying to cope with an environment that was trying to kill them? And I came up with 3 questions, because I'm a consultant. First question, what fear must you kill? Epictetus, the Greek philosopher, said, there's nothing we can control about death except to decide to be unafraid. As you can imagine, if I was paralyzed by fear, during operations in Northern Ireland, I would have been useless to myself and others. So early on my first tour, as a priority, so I could do my job, I had to resolve to kill my fear of death. Second question, what good habits make you feel most excellent? Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is therefore not an act, but a habit. Every time before I left our patrol base on a patrol, I would put my rifle butt in the shoulder, look down the barrel through the sights, butt in the shoulder. I've done this activity thousands of times. On the one hand, this gave me the confidence to feel that if we were ambushed on leaving the gate, which happens sometimes, I could automatically return fire without even thinking about it. On the other hand, it helped me feel that if I could master this small, less complex task, I could take on the big, really complex task just as well too. Third question, what brings you joy? Henry V, before Agincourt, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. But how could you be happy on the eve of a battle that might see thousands of people killed and wounded, including yourself? Well, you might not know this, but paradoxically, the front line on a battlefield can be a very happy place. With your armchair generals well behind you, and a vicious, take no prisoners foe in front of you, soldiers on the front line of a battlefield experience freedoms and camaraderie that are unknown in any other aspect of the human experience. I remember taking cover on top of this small hill in a place called South Armagh near Crossmaglen. It was called Bandit Country at the time. Over 400 people had been killed over the years within sight of that hill. There was a .50 caliber sniper operating in the area at the time, could blow a hole the size of your fist right through your chest from 2 kilometers away. But Ireland's a very pretty place. Can anybody here back me up on that? Absolutely. And on seeing this gigantic rainbow appear out of the mist, I stood up with Sound of Music arms and I said, isn't it beautiful here? My soldiers looked up at me like I was nuts, of course. So how might this apply to you and help you in your daily life and work as a management consultant? Well, let's give it a shot. Let's try these 3 questions out. First of all, what fear must you kill? Well, let me take a wild guess here. If you've got 30 days or 30 years of experience like me, your primary fear, like right now, might be the imposter syndrome. Nothing terrifies a high-flying professional more than the thought that they might not be worth a damn. So, if you give in to the imposter syndrome, that bully will suck all your time and attention away from you and your clients. And like any bully, it responds to attention. So, first of all, resolve to kill that bully by ignoring it to death and get on with your life's work with purpose, passion, and confidence. Second question, what good habits make us feel most excellent? Well, these are our methodologies. Simple, repeatable, durable, transparent, step-by-step approaches to solving any tricky problem can help you and your client navigate successfully from start to finish on any tricky project as a strong team. Third question, what brings you joy? In case you haven't noticed yet, management consulting is a famously time-hungry profession. And if you let it, it will consume every minute of every one of your days. So stake your own claim out to a piece of time territory and guard it with your life. And use it to pursue your own brand of non-work-related joy, because especially when everything's trying to kill you, that's no reason to ruin a damn good walk.